So what does it really mean to be a man today? It's a massive question, isn't it? Well, we're about to unpack a pretty powerful answer, one that's built on 27 years of study and lived experience. This is a blueprint for masculinity from an Islamic perspective, and honestly, it might just challenge what you think you know. So let's dive in.
And right off the bat, the core idea is laid out there, plain and simple. This isn't just some abstract theory. It's a lifetime of learning, all boiled down. The claim is huge. A complete guide exists, but most people have only seen the tip of the iceberg. Which, of course, leads to the big question for us. What's hiding underneath that surface?
So how is this blueprint even put together? Well, think of it like you're building a house. You don't start with the color of the paint or picking out furniture, right? No, you start with the foundation. This whole framework is built exactly like that, from the inside out. And it all begins with one single core idea that everything else absolutely depends on.
First up, we're talking about that foundation. This is the single most critical piece of the puzzle. According to this blueprint, without this spiritual anchor in place, the whole structure just, well, it falls apart.
And that anchor is monotheism, the absolute, unwavering belief in one single creator. But hold on, this isn't just a theology lesson. In this context, it's framed as the very source code for a man's identity, his purpose, everything.
And here's a really fascinating way to look at this concept. It's not presented as a restriction, it's presented as liberation. The whole idea is that this belief frees a man from being a slave to his own ego, to what other people think, or to endlessly chasing money and status. And that kind of freedom, that's where true strength comes from.
This chart just lays out the contrast perfectly. On one side, you have a purpose that's like a North Star. It's absolute, it's unwavering, it's a fixed point you can always navigate by. But on the other side, you've got a purpose tied to the world, which is a lot more like a weather vane. It's just constantly shifting with trends, with opinions, with your own desires. It can leave a guy feeling completely lost.
And this quote just brings it all home. It's a bit of a paradox. When you think about it, the very act of bowing down to one single, higher power is what stops a man from bowing down to anything or anyone else. That submission becomes the ultimate source of his independence and his strength. It's the bedrock.
Okay, so if that spiritual anchor is the foundation, what's the next layer of the house? Well, we move from the why to the who. The focus shifts inward. It's all about building a man's character from the inside out.
And the most crucial piece of this inner work is intention. The why behind what you do is literally everything. This means the path to mastering yourself isn't about just crushing your desires, but it's about refining them, redirecting them towards something much bigger than yourself. It's a constant internal negotiation.
So what does that process actually look like, day to day? Well, it starts with simply acknowledging temptation. No shame involved. The key is that the real strength isn't found in giving in. It's found in the struggle, in the active restraint. And here's the really profound part. According to this, a man gets rewarded just for the intention to do good or for pulling back from doing wrong. It suggests that true strength is often totally silent. It's defined by what you choose not to do.
This is such a huge takeaway. I mean, we live in a culture that so often puts physical power on a pedestal, right? But this framework just completely flips that priority list. It argues that the real work, the true measure of a man, is his internal strength, his fortitude. The external stuff is just a byproduct of what's happening on the inside.
And speaking of inner strength, what about emotions? This framework takes on a major stereotype head-on. Crying in this specific context is not weakness, not at all. When it comes from a place of deep spiritual connection or powerful remembrance, it's actually seen as a release, a sign of a soft, receptive heart, and, believe it or not, a source of spiritual power.
So once you have that solid foundation and you're focused on building that inner character, how does this man actually show up in the world? Now we move from the internal to the external, to his actions, his responsibilities, and how he deals with other people.
And right here, we see a total redefinition of what masculine action looks like. Strength is shown through gentleness, not through being harsh. Real freedom is found in stepping up and embracing responsibility, not running away from it. And that competitive drive we all have, it gets channeled towards a higher purpose, not just this ego-driven need to dominate everyone around you.
Now this is a really striking description, and it makes such a powerful point about modesty. In this framework, modesty, which is really about humility and self-control, is considered a deeply masculine virtue. It's presented as a form of profound respect, a way of guarding his own integrity and the honor of others.
So we've gone from that deep spiritual anchor through the landscape of the inner self and out into the world of action. Now let's pull all these threads together and see the final portrait this blueprint paints, the integrated man.
You see, in the end, the goal here isn't to have a simple checklist of traits. It's about creating a cohesive, whole person. It's about a man whose kindness, whose sense of responsibility, whose strength, they aren't just random behaviors. They're the natural, logical outflow of his spiritual purpose and all that inner work. You can see how everything flows directly from that one anchor we started with.
And so, that leaves us with this final thought. We've just explored one very specific, detailed blueprint, and it's built on an unwavering spiritual foundation. In a world where values and even identities can feel like they're constantly shifting under our feet, it really leaves us all with a fundamental question to ask ourselves. What is your anchor?